And a good morning. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. Welcome to the Dolphin Athletic Complex on the campus of Lamar University. Dave, this is a big day, not only for some high school kids, but for junior college kids to continue their football career. And it's also an exciting day here at Lamar University coming off a national playoff.
I was going to say, really exciting times for Lamar football as Mike Schultz has made his imprint on the program, going 7-5 this past year, first time to go in the playoffs, as you said. And to me, National Signing Day for college football is a lot like Christmas morning. You get to open up all those presents, all those packages, and see what you got. But the way things have worked nowadays with the new rules, there's an early signing period. There were 11 players that signed back in December before Christmas. And now there's going to be more players signing today as Lamar fills out all their needs on the football field. But looking at it, you know, there's a lot of commitments, and Lamar's getting a lot of attention nationally, a lot of out-of-state recruits coming into the program this year. So exciting times for Coach Schultz and his staff.
We'll be looking at these young men as they come into signings today. We'll also look at the early signings from back in December and where the Cardinals really need help. And what Coach Schultz, by the way, calls today, it's the second half. You know, December was the first half. This is the second half. And as you mentioned, Dave, 11 signees. Cardinals lost their entire secondary. So that's where a lot of focus is on. And that's why you see a lot of JUCO kids on this list, because some of these kids are going to have that college experience at the junior college level, so they're needed right away.
Yeah, they'll be able to step in and play, and of course, as you said, will be counted upon to make a difference in keeping that Lamar defense as strong as it was in the second half of the season. I mean, they had their problems early on, but really made an imprint late in the season. As we take a look at some of Lamar's needs, we'll go over the needs of the Cardinals as far as positions, and run down the list of 11 recruits that were signed back in December. They're already on campus, including, two players have been confirmed as signing today and officially members of the program that we can talk about, including a transfer quarterback from the University of Tennessee, Will McBride, who's a Texan. He's from Clear Springs High School in League City, Texas. And again, he'll be competing with Jordan Hoy for that starting quarterback job. So good to have competition at the positions.
Right, and he's got that Southeastern Conference experience coming in here. You mentioned a League City guy from the Houston area coming back home to play here in Southeast Texas. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with why he chose Lamar University.
And when you look at the list of 11 early recruits, I believe 5 junior college transfers, and then transfer another, Blinn Junior College, that came in the next day following the official opening of signing period. And there was one local recruit from Westbrook High School, the Bruins, making it to the state championship in Class 6A Division II this past year. And they've added Donovan Edwards, an offensive lineman, 6'1", 285 pounds from the Westbrook Bruins. So a winner there joining Lamar.
Yeah, Coach is really, really excited about him. Well, remember, we were over here for the early signing period back in December, and Coach really excited about everybody they signed, particularly when you talk about Donovan Edwards, a local guy, 6'1", 285, and good quick feet. The kid can move on the field. He's an athlete, and that's the kind of the offensive lineman you really need when you're looking at the style of offense Lamar has.
One thing Coach Schultz said when he first took the job is that they needed to add size, and not only the offensive line or the defensive line, not get pushed around like they had in years past. And there were some growing pains in that first year, but it certainly paid off in the second year as Lamar's offensive line led the conference, certainly one of the top. And, of course, there was Garrett Bowery, who was named
Lineman of the Year.
Offensive Lineman of the Year, who was a junior college transfer a couple of years ago, one of the first recruits signed by Mike Schultz. And he'll be one of our special guests, I believe, coming up later this morning.
You talk about another, you just mentioned it, size, 6'5", 320 pounds, Alexander Freehoff. He is out of Carson, Texas. He's going to be a true freshman coming out here out of Springtown High School. You're looking at a 6'5", 320 kid who's, 17, 18 years old? Think about it after he gets out of that weight room.
No doubt about that. Yes. And Coach Schultz and his staff have put an emphasis on not only nutrition, but building up with their strength and conditioning coach, Daniel Darcy, to get the Cardinals in position to be successful. And that's probably when recruits look at what Lamar did this past year, one of the attractions to become part of this program. And one thing I noticed in some of the comments from the coaching staff and Coach Schultz is that, you know, making the playoffs, finish the season strong, going that extra week with a week of extra practice and getting ready for that playoff game against Northern Iowa. Lamar, you know, the coaches didn't have a chance to get out and recruit. That was one less week for that December signing
Well, that's for
period.
a good reason, though. You know, really, and you know,
But I mean, so they had to work extra hard, not only getting ready for the playoff game, but still keep their recruiting ties going.
you know, and when you make the national playoffs, and you know, it's a crawl before you walk, walk before you run scenario here at Lamar University, and you make the national playoffs, you kind of got that on your resume. You kind of boast your chest a little bit when you're a coach going into someone's home, someone's school, saying, hey, look at all these guys we've got coming back. We've turned this program around. Went from 2 wins last year. The very next year we make the FCS national playoffs. So that helps recruiting as well.
Let's take a look at some of the needs Lamar has on their seniors, as far as they lost some key seniors, including 5 wide receivers, 7 players on offense, and 7 players on defense. Of course, they lost quarterback Darryl Colbert Jr., who was the Southland Conference Player of the Week that final week of the regular season with that big win in Lake Charles over McNeese, which is
always a lot of fun. That's always
not easy to do. And the
still,
basketball team gets a win in Lake Charles this past weekend. So
you know, I still have that in my mind with Darryl hitting Zay Giles, that great catch down to about the 2-yard line that sealed the win for Lamar. But that was exciting. And you mentioned you do have the one quarterback you lost, and you've got Will McBride coming in along with Jordan Hoy. And Jordan Hoy, real quick, let's talk about him. Backup quarterback, the newcomer year in the conference. How often do you see a backup, the newcomer of the year?
And he won, what, 2 Player of the Week awards?
Yes.
And he set a record, passing against Stephen F. Austin and then running against Central Arkansas, or vice versa, because
no, it was a running against
one
Central
week he
Arkansas.
did it with a pass,
Yeah.
and then the next week he does it with a run.
He did it with his legs against Central Arkansas and winning up in Conway. But, you know, again, you mentioned it, talking about some of the needs. You lose the All-American offensive lineman Garrett Bowery, 5 receivers, but you do have some good receivers coming back, but those are some slots you need to fill, and this is the time to do it.
As far as the defensive side of the football, Lamar lost 7 players, including 5 defensive backs. So their entire secondary was wiped out. So that's what the number 1 priority as far as, and we'll see with the list of early signees that head coach Mike Schultz and the staff have taken care of, including a linebacker and a defensive end. So 7 players to replace defensively.
Including another All-American, Devon Jernigan. And what a year he had for the Cardinals. And we can talk about that real quick. We can start looking at some of these early signees. Defensive backs, you look at them, you've got 3 defensive backs in the early signing, including Jerrod Alton, a 5'11", 185-pound defensive back. Went to Iowa Western Community College. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri, Kirkwood High School, 5'11", 185, and high school 3-star prospect out of high school. And when you're looking at FCS level, you know,
that's
3 stars.
good.
That's 3 stars. That's really good. It is. I mean, the big boys, the FBSs, they're going to get the 5 stars, the 4 stars. But when you start looking at a 3-star coming to an FCS school, that is pretty good.
And he's a junior college player, or Iowa Western, so he'll be able to step in and make a contribution right away. Will be expected to, and he's on campus right now, so he'll be part of spring training.
Signed
and
out
that's
of Missouri.
a big deal too.
Signed with Missouri coming out of high school.
So again, he's got the pedigree that Lamar's looking for as far as an impact player. Also from a defensive back category, Tariq Anthony, who's from Copperas Cove, Texas, and Copperas Cove High School. He's a high school player who went to junior college 2-year letter winner at Kilgore in East Texas, and that team, Kilgore, went 10-2 this past year, and overall was 28-0. Had a 28-0 victory over Pima, Arizona's community college in the Champs Heart of Texas Bowl for junior college players. And again, the Rangers close out the season winning their final 8 games. So Tariq Anthony, a defensive back from Copperas Cove, Texas, is used to winning and expects to do so here at Lamar.
Another defensive back in the early signing, I hope I'm saying this right, DeQuaris Griffin, a 6'1", 185-pound defensive
Home
back.
of Louisiana.
Home of Louisiana. Look, let's see. He had offers from Nichols. He had offers from McNeese State. He's here at Lamar University after going to Arizona Western Community College. And I don't know how the coaches feel about it, but I know as broadcasters and as fans, you kind of like seeing those kids from Louisiana come over here to Southeast Texas.
I was going to say, back in the day, Lamar would never win a recruiting battle with McNeese, and now the tables have turned thanks to success on the football team and going head-to-head and beating the Cowboys in that last game of the regular season. So DeQuiers Griffin from Arizona Western Community College joins the program.
Out of Homa as well. Wrapped up his high school career, get this, 127 total tackles, 87 unassisted tackles, and 6 interceptions at the Ellender High School, A.J. Ellender High School there in Homa. And another need for Lamar, an experienced defensive back coming in and would expect to contribute right away.
And let's see, there was offensive line when we talked about Donovan Edwards and Alexander Frithoff. Also, Ted Melson, offensive lineman from New Orleans, Louisiana, St. Augustine High School. And he was a 2-sport letter winner, 4-year winner in the gridiron. 2-sport track and field was his other sport at St. Augustine High School in New Orleans. 2-time All-District, first team as a senior. And once again, he was recruited by South Alabama and Texas State, which are the bowl division part.
Yeah, they're FBS schools, and you look at this again as when we talked about Donovan Edwards out of Beaumont Westbrook. You look at Ted, 6'3", 305. We're getting 300-pound linemen in here as true freshmen, and that's really exciting. And again, as you talked about earlier, you hit that weight room, and you're going to get bigger, stronger, and faster. So that's really exciting.
Again, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live, live from Lamar University's Dauphin Athletic Complex, previewing and taking a look at the early signing class for Lamar football with a number of recruits signing this morning. It started at 8 o'clock this morning Central Time, and more information will be coming that we'll be passing along to you as far as Lamar recruits are concerned. And here's an exciting player. Everybody likes the quarterbacks. And we mentioned about the transfer from the University of Tennessee. There was one that signed in the early signing period, Jermaine Givens, who's 6 foot, 185 pounds, out of Mesquite, Texas, and Mesquite Horn High School. He pledged early for Lamar. I believe he pledged over the summer before the season started. And he's got some impressive stats.
Right, and a true freshman coming in, as we talked about, we have Will McBride, who's going to have, I think 2 years left of eligibility, coming in here to Lamar, transfer from Tennessee. And, of course, Jordan Hoy, he's going to be coming in as a senior. Now, this is a true freshman that could come in here, and he's going to get experience. He could work under those guys, and I'm not saying he's going to be redshirt or not, but also, he may be. But you look at the youngsters coming in to develop. Well, these two guys lead the programs over the next year or so.
But he was a quarterback in high school, and you'll talk more with head coach Mike Schultz about Jermaine Givens. He was a quarterback in high school, but looking over his stats, he sounds like an athlete. I mean, he sounds like a Kendrick King coming out of Hampshire Finette.
3,200 yards.
You got to find a place for him on the football field. You got to get him the football, maybe in space, and he can do some damage. He had over 5,000 yards passing, 3 years on varsity, 49 touchdown passes passing the football. But here's the most impressive stat: 3,200 yards rushing and 36 touchdowns on the ground, which Coach Schultz and offensive coordinator Dowd really like as far as a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, named the District 11 6A MVP, so we get the district MVP coming in.
Oh, we got hot off the presses.
We got some coming in.
Cooper Welch, assistant media director, athletics, sports information, passing along the information from James Dixon, who's back in mission control. He's got he is confirming all these signings. Why don't we run down some of the early finish off the list there, and then we can talk about the new guys.
All right, another offensive lineman, Nick Dunos, 6'3", 310-pound transfer from Mississippi Gulf College, and Lamar's dipped into Mississippi Coast Junior College for players in the past. 2-year letter winner at offensive lineman, guided Mississippi College Coast to a 7-2 record. Again, another need on that offensive line for the offensive lineman. Lamar did lose Garrett Bowery, but you're getting some kids that come in and fill, and you got a good offensive line returning with a good backfield for Lamar. And this guy here is going to be a big monster up front at 6'3", 310.
How about Davion May? He's a defensive end helping out the defense, another junior college guy from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. He's from Hammond, Louisiana, home of Southeastern Louisiana, and played 9 games as a freshman with 25 tackles in junior college, including one for a loss, also recruiting attention from Louisiana Lafayette and McNeese, and had 34 tackles, 12 sacks in high school, forcing 3 fumbles. And coming out of high school, he was recruited by Colorado State, Kansas State, La Tech, Lafayette, Southern Miss, Troy, and San Antonio. And Davion May joins the Lamar program as an impact player at defensive end.
You're going to give me this next one, aren't you?
The Hawaiian.
Sal Vahea. So Vahea.
From Hawaii.
Yes, went to Merced
Maui.
Community College. He is a 5'11", 225-pound linebacker. The guy's going to show a lot of speed, good movement on the field. Was a running back, and again, that tells you kind of athlete you
Both
have
ways.
here as a linebacker. In high school, he played running back, so that shows you how athletic he's going to be at the linebacker position for the Cardinals.
And once again, there's another defensive player, Kirsten Williams, a defensive end from Houston Klein Forest High School by way of Blinn Junior College, and that's in Brenham, a 2-year letter winner. He had 54 tackles, including 7 sacks from his defensive end position. Honorable mention all-conference in junior college. Kirsten Williams, part of the 11-man early signing class from back in December, and I believe we had everybody. We mentioned Jerrod Alton, Tariq Anthony,
out of Copperscove.
Devin Nelson from New Orleans.
Yeah, we've covered everybody now. So we talked about the needs, and I think the coaching staff did a really good job filling those slots with the early signing period.
All right. As we said, hot off the presses, number of recruits coming in this morning. I believe we have 5 that officially can be added to the Lamar 2019 football recruiting list. And we mentioned Will McBride from League City, Clear Springs High School, transfer from University of Tennessee. What about what Will McBride? Of course, he didn't get that much playing time at Tennessee. That's the reason why he's transferring, get more playing time at Lamar. How about his high school career?
Wow, ranked as the number 41 quarterback in the nation coming out of Clear Springs High School over in League City. The number 28 dual threat quarterback. Just some great numbers, 9-2 record, earned first team all county honors, and and he's also real good in the classroom with the National Honor Society. He did play in one game for Tennessee and then utilized last year as a redshirt. So if my math is correct, he may have 3 years of eligibility coming in.
I was going to say an exciting time for his family too, because coming out of Texas, Clear Springs High School, his family will get to watch him play more often as far as in the Southland Conference and as far as the travel to get around all the games.
I want to thank everybody for joining us on YouTube this morning on National Signing Day. Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth and quarterback Will McBride, as we just talked about. Well, he'll be on with us here in just a little bit. Again, it is National Signing Day. We're at the Dolphin Athletic Complex in Beaumont talking Lamar Cardinal football. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. Back on National Signing Day, I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth at Lamar University's Dolphin Athletic Complex. Big day again for Lamar University and kids all across the country for that fact, and right here in Southeast Texas as well. Thanks for joining us on YouTube Live. It's a really exciting day, Dave. And again, we talked about it early on. This and you hit it on the nose. And when you said it's like Christmas morning, not only for the kids but for the coaches.
Except back in the olden days, you didn't know who was going to sign with you right up to the last possible minute.
Right.
Now you get the early commitment, so you pretty much know what's going to be in the package when you open it up. And there are very few surprises, but we understand there's late breaking news out of Lamar football offices that head coach Mike Schultz, who hopes to join us here in a few moments maybe, is in a meeting to talk about maybe another possible surprise. So there could be one extra present under the tree for Lamar football, and the coach is working trying to possibly confirm that. And again, it's not official until they fax in their scholarship information and actually sign on the dotted line.
And that's what SIDs, sports information directors, are doing all across this country, along with coaches. They're waiting to hear that fax machine ding. You hear that fax machine ding. That's pretty good news. In our first segment, we did go over the 11 early signees. We talked about Will McBride, the quarterback transfer from Tennessee, and several other.
That is official. He's on campus. He'll be part of spring practice.
Another official one coming in is Anthony Ruffin. Anthony Ruffin, a 6'1", 190-pound defensive back out
Another
of
one
Terrebonne.
out of Homa.
Terrebonne. It took me several years moving to Southeast Texas and doing games in Southwest Louisiana. I can say Terrebonne now. So it's Terrebonne High School in Homa. Now this is a young man that's going to come in here and really help out. 6'1", 190, a very good athlete.
Another defensive back, so there's going to be a lot of competition as far as trying to get the starting spots with the loss of 5 secondary members for Lamar football this past season. And once again, Terrebonne, an outstanding program this past year, went 11-2, 5-1 in district play, and he was top 20 in the state rankings for his prep squad. 3-sport letter winner, so not just a football player. He's an athlete, as he was all-state in track and field as well, and a standout in basketball. So Anthony Ruffin, defensive back from Homa, Louisiana, joining Lamar football this morning.
Yeah, and also receiving offers from Marcus of Pine Bluff, right there almost in his own backyard, Nichols, McNeese, in southeastern Louisiana. Another young man. And you talked about this a second ago, Dave, all-state honors in track and field. So that means he's going to bring some speed. He's going to bring some speed here to Lamar University. So
I believe there's a sign up there, defensive characteristics. We're right off the meeting rooms for Lamar football, offense on this side and defense on this side. Physical characteristics that the Lamar coaches are looking for: to be physical, reliable. Speed is number 3 on the list. Effort, tackle, dominate, and be aggressive.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to Anthony Ruffin coming in here at Lamar University. It's National Signing Day. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and visit with head coach Mike Schultz up next, right here from Lamar University's Dolphin Athletic Complex. Back at the Dolphin Athletic Complex here on the campus of Lamar University. National Signing Day, as we're going to be joined here by Coach Mike Schultz, like he likes to call the second half, because the first half was in December. An early signing day, big day all across the state and the country for high school and junior college athletes. But Coach, before we start talking about today's National Signing Day, we've got to talk about this past season. What a finish for Lamar to get into the national playoffs, and that was really a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it was a great season. Our kids did a great job. We're really excited about the upcoming year. We feel like we have a good foundation in place to build on.
How's that help recruiting when you go out and about and you're coming off a season where you went to the FCS national playoffs?
You know, I think anytime you have success, it helps you get some momentum in going to recruiting. We felt really good about our early signing period, and we feel really good where we are right now.
Talk about the needs. We look at the senior list and, you know, a little bit of everywhere, but where you really took a big hit, there was in that defensive backfield where you lost all your starters, and that includes an All-American and Devon Jernigan.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it right now. There was a great focus going into the recruiting to help shore up our back end. You know, we lost a ton of safeties, 3 to 4 safeties. We lost a corner in Rodney Randall.
Right.
You know, again, one linebacker in Chasten Brooks, and then, you know, Dietrich Garner is gone, so a defensive lineman. So, you know, there was a lot of focus. We lost over half our defensive starters.
And that's something we looked at on this 11 early signees. You do see defensive back, linebackers, defensive linemen. You filled that much of that gap during the early signing period. Oh,
there's no doubt about it. You know, you start just up front. We ended up signing in Davion May, a young man that was a Louisiana kid out of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We're excited about him. You know, there's some Kirsten Williams, another defensive end. He's from Blinn Junior College. We're excited about him. And then you start getting into the back end part of it. Jerrod Alton came in here as a junior college transfer. Darius Griffin, a young man out of Arizona. Now, it says he's from an Arizona junior college, but he is actually from Louisiana.
Well, I tell you what, you grabbed a few kids from Southwest Louisiana.
Yeah, which is we need to probably do a better job in there, which we have been focusing on trying to get into Louisiana. But we also, Tariq Anthony, a corner from a junior college here in Texas. So, I mean, there was a huge focus on getting into the, you know, getting immediate help, people with a little bit more mature kids that could come in and help us out in that area. Nick Demones, okay, I believe I said that right, is an offensive lineman. We felt like we needed to replace Jarrett Bowery. And then the next area that we graduated a lot of kids were receiver. We lost 4 to 5 receivers that are out of here that are no longer be a part of Lamar. So there was a focus in that area, and that's something that we're handling this morning and working through, and we feel really good about where we are on those things.
Again, we are visiting with Lamar head football coach Mike Schultz, National Signing Day. On the early signing part, a couple of high school kids, including one from right here in Beaumont. We look at these high school kids coming in at 300 plus, and they're going to get, as Dave Hoffer and I talked about a while ago, they're going to get stronger. They're going to get bigger.
You know, we can talk about Donovan Edwards. He's an offensive lineman here in Westbrook. We're excited about him. You know, he's extremely athletic. We think he can play a couple of positions up there. We're either going to play him at center or guard, but he's athletic. He can run. You know, this is a guy that's going to come in and bench press well over 300 pounds when he walks on campus. So, you know, that's the type of kid that we've been looking for. Again, he's carrying the mass that we need. He's up around 290, 300. Alex Fitzroth, the young man out of Fort Worth, it's actually Springtown. You know, he is a giant, 6'5", over 300 pounds, athletic, can run. We're excited about him. And then, of course, I'll go back, a skilled kid, Jeremy Givens, is a quarterback out of Mesquite. We're excited about him. The way he took his team deep in the playoffs. He's very athletic. He's our type of quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. So we feel like we did well.
A lot of these kids, you know, and you talked about Donovan out of Westbrook, and your other young man going deep in the playoffs. they're coming in here with winning attitudes. They're coming out of winning programs. Donovan playing 4 state championship last year, so you're recruiting kids coming in here with winning attitudes.
Yeah, and I don't want to leave off Ted Melson, a young man out of New Orleans. Again, another big guy, 6'3", 300 pounds, very strong, very athletic. So we feel really well, or we feel like we're in really good shape right now. And so we're excited to get these guys. Or the great thing about these guys, they're here on campus. And, let's don't forget about Will McBride,
right.
Our transfer quarterback from Tennessee. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. He's here. He's on campus. He's going to go through spring with us. We're excited about that competition between him and Jordan Hoy.
And you talk about a young man like Jordan. He was your backup behind Daryl Colbert. How often do you see a backup be a newcomer of a year in a conference? I mean, that's remarkable.
It's kind of good. Competition's a great thing. And, we push competition. We want competition at every position. I've said it, if I've said this once, I've said it many times. Competition makes for good players. The more competition you have at a position, the more kids learn to compete at a very high level to win those starting jobs.
Another guy I want to talk about here real quick, part of that early signing, going back to that, is Tremaine Givens, quarterback at a Mesquite Horn High School. This guy could throw the ball. This guy could run the football. Not putting the cart in front of the horse here, but could it be utilized elsewhere?
Oh, there's no doubt, and I don't want to talk about that
right.
because right now Tremaine's Given is a really good quarterback. He can spin it, he can throw, he can run, but the thing about it, he is so athletic and so fast that he can be utilized in a lot of different ways.
Talk about the recruiting process on a daily basis. I mean, it's almost 365. I mean, you're out there almost every day, looking at kids, looking down the road. Maybe some of the difficulties in this year's recruiting trail.
It's they're the same year in and year out. We have probably cast a little bit larger net this year. When I say that, we're expanding our areas, looking at different kids. I say that it's a very simple philosophy. When it comes to transferring junior college athletes, we are a nationwide recruiting. We have a nationwide search. I can't talk about them yet, but we're expecting 4 kids to sign within the next hour from California, junior colleges. So, when we talk about our junior college recruiting, we talk about a national strategy. When we talk about our high school recruiting, we really like to talk about, the south part of Louisiana now, the Golden Triangle, Houston, and then some into the Metroplex.
And Mississippi. I mean, you've got kids out of Mississippi as well.
Mississippi junior colleges have been a very good hot spot for us. We signed, several kids out of there last year, and we added another 2 or 3 kids out of there this year.
Someone might say, why are you waiting for the kids of California to sign? It's 7:30 in the morning there right now.
Yeah, it's still early in California. They couldn't sign until this morning. And, if they're 21, all we need is their signature.
Right.
So if they're 20, we've got to get their signature. We got to snapshot it. We got to send it to a parent who usually is not in California. So one of the situations is we're looking at a kid signing right now where he's sending those papers back to a different city halfway across the country. They've got to get them. They got to get them printed. Then they've got to sign them. Then we've got to snapshot that and bring it back to Beaumont. So it's a little bit of a process, and we're hopping through those hoops right now as we speak.
All right, now Dave Harvard, who's joining me for this, brought this up a little bit earlier. Recruiting now is a little bit different than it was, say, when you first got started, because you might not know until today, because you really didn't have the early commitments back several years ago as you see today.
Now
the early commitments, it's changed quite a bit.
Oh no, I think the early signing date has been great. I think it really. I don't think there's anybody out there complaining about it right now. I can see where the Texases and the Oklahomas right now. I talked to TCU, some coaches at TCU and North Texas, and they were full on the early signing date. They had no more. You know, the reason I think that is good for us, that clears the picture up a little bit of what we need to recruit and where we need to be and where we need. And it also helps us because we signed quite a few in our early signing period. So, it lets us isolate on those specific needs that we need to get. And, it's like after the early signing day, we weren't going to take any more offensive linemen. I mean, we took every offensive lineman we were going to take in the early signing date. Now we're just down to looking at a few kids in the back end and outside with us at receiver.
And a reason, obviously, for the offensive line, you do have a lot of guys coming back.
Yeah, we lost one guy, and now we lost a good one.
Yeah,
Jerrod Alton is a good one, All-American, but we lost one guy up front. Everybody else we returned. So that is one place that we feel real good about. The two sides of the ball that I thought we feel as good as we could feel about right now is the offensive and defensive line. We have more depth on the defensive line, more depth on the offensive line than we've ever had. And, in the past, that's always been a struggle, is to get those big body guys and get them in here and get them ready to go. And, through recruiting, we've answered some of those problems.
Is the best sound on recruiting day the sound of a fax machine?
Not anymore.
Yeah, because technology has changed.
Technology has got it really is, it's gotten nice because, now most of the kids can just take their phone, snapshot their sign-in papers, text it back to us, and then we can get it and run it off. So it's become a lot less hassle-free, so the fax deal is almost becoming a thing of the past.
Going to get some rest now that at the end of this day?
Yeah, we're looking forward. Like I said, the funny thing is we signed. It was kind of funny. We had kids that were going to sign at 7, and then we had kids that were going to sign at 9. Mm-hmm. So, the 7 o'clock kids went, and then we had almost a 2-hour break until we got around to the kids that were going to sign a little bit later on. So, we're looking forward. I know the staff has done a tremendous job. They've worked their tails off, and we're excited about where we are in the group that we've got coming in.
All right, I know we're talking about this recruiting class. As a coaching staff, how far ahead do you look?
We're already on the next recruiting class. We're sitting in there right now talking about different strategies, maybe different things we can do, how we can make ourselves better in recruiting. It's just like you said, recruiting now is 365 days a year. You cannot take a day off. And, then you get into the transfer from the FBS schools down to the FCS school. And that's an ongoing project right there, which that goes year round.
And, those are kids that can play right away.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that that can be a huge benefit. Daryl Colbert was one of those guys.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations on your recruiting class. Congratulations on the past season, making the FCS National Playoffs, and looking forward to Lamar University football.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, too.
All right, Coach Mike Schultz, I'm Harold Mann. We'll be rejoined by Dave Hofferth. It's National Signing Day, live from the Dolphin Athletic Complex on the campus of Lamar University. Hey, before we start talking about some of the other recruits, Dave, as we just saw from Kirsten Williams, the defensive end, you saw that video on him, and we're really looking forward and really excited about him coming here to play football for Lamar University. We heard from Coach Schultz, and for obvious reasons, pretty excited.
No doubt about that. And again, we've been interspersing some video of the early signing recruits. And Harold, we just had 3 more commits officially come in this morning. As Coach said, they take a picture on their phone of their national letter of intent with a signature, and then email it in. And once again, it's official, as we'll run down some of the other names. I want to also mention, we heard from Coach Schultz this morning here on YouTube video. Glad you can join us here at Lamar University. Coach Schultz will be at the Montaigne Center tonight. There's basketball tonight as the Cardinals take on Abilene Christian. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off, but at 5:30, if you can make it out early, you can stop by the Cardinal Club room, and Coach Schultz will go over the recruiting class, the entire recruiting class, including some of the local guys that are signing today, a little bit later this morning. Again, we're on YouTube until 11 o'clock, so there are more signees that will be coming in throughout the day. So 5:30 tonight at the Cardinal Club room at the Montaigne Center. You can get the lowdown on Lamar football signing and recruiting for 2019.
And watch Lamar basketball game.
That's right.
One of the young men Coach talked about was Michael Lawson. He is signed. He is a defensive back, 5'10", out of Patterson, California, Patterson High School. Went to City College of San Francisco, and 36 tackles, including 25 solo tackles during the most recent sophomore year at City College of San Francisco.
And Coach was saying on his way out this morning that he had committed to the University of Hawaii, hoped to sign with the Hawaii Rainbows, but the scholarship offer didn't come through at the last minute, so he was left out in the cold and signed with Lamar University and has the opportunity to come to Beaumont, almost sight unseen, but with the reputation of the program, and as Coach pointed out, they're now starting to get a national reputation, making the playoffs last year. That has helped their profile with signing players. Another player out of City College of San Francisco, Dallas Martin.
Yeah, kid named Dallas got to come to Texas play football.
To go with Jack Dallas, huh?
Yeah, he's a linebacker, 6'2", 220. Real quick, back to Michael Lawson, was the first in high school. We're coming here as a defensive back. In high school, he made first team as an athlete. There's that word again. And
31 touchdowns. He's listed as a defensive back, 31 touchdowns, and once again carried the ball. He was a running back, over 1,800 yards and 23 touchdowns, and that was as far as a standout on the basketball court as well. So an athlete, as you pointed out, Michael Lawson could be an impact player for Lamar football coming up this season.
Now you touched on this guy, starting to go Dallas Martin, 6'2", 220-pound linebacker from Moretta, California, Foothills High School. As Dave mentioned, he too went to the City College of San Francisco. 3-star recruit, had offers from the likings of Marshall, Bowling Green, Indiana, Louisiana Lafayette. He initially had signed with Marshall before transferring here to Lamar. He could play right away. All-conference selection, had recorded 120 tackles his senior year in high school. And again, this is another guy that's going to show you a lot of speed and good vision on the field, left to right.
Another defensive back is Kyron Norwood out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Coach mentioned the Mississippi junior colleges play some great football, and he's from Pearl River Community College. Hattiesburg, his hometown. First team all junior college, 93 tackles during 2 years at Pearl River, ranked among the national junior college leaders with 10 pass breakups, also recorded an interception. And in high school, 90 tackles, playing for Hattiesburg, Forest County High School. First team All-District, second team All-State, and also lettered in baseball, track and field, and soccer.
I was going to mention, look at that next stat. Blocked 6 field goals.
We know about blocked field goals.
Yeah, how about that?
Especially against Nichols.
Yeah, UIW.
Oh, yeah,
UIW
right.
that return. But nonetheless, yeah, that shows his athletic ability. He comes from an athletic family, too. His sister played basketball at Central Arkansas, and his father is a former professional boxer.
Whoa. Won't want to get in the ring with Kyron Norwood out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And those are some of the early names that came in this morning, and 3 names that have just come in while Coach Schultz was with us visiting on YouTube Live, including Kenny Allen, another junior college player from East Los Angeles College. So they're getting out of California. They're coming to Texas, where there's no state taxes.
There you go. There you go. You know,
From L.A., Kenny Allen.
And what you like about this, and of course, as a coach mentioned, and everyone knows by making the FCS national playoff, this helps. Lamar's now turned into a national recruiting. Not only, you know, Texas, of course, we love to get our kids from here in Southeast Texas, work your way out, but it's also a situation where you got to fill your needs, and that comes first.
And Kenny Allen is a wide receiver, played 9 games during his sophomore year. That's his second year of junior college ball. Had over 700 yards in receptions with 11 touchdowns, so he knows how to get it into the end zone. He finished well over 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns in his 2-year junior college career coming out of Los Angeles. Kenny Allen is now a Lamar Cardinal, along with Ryan Matlock, another wide receiver. Coach pointed out that need. He's from Newbury Park, California.
Another California kid named as a player to watch by Ventura County Star, led Ventura with 20 rushing touchdowns as a freshman before turning into a receiver as a sophomore. So this is another good athlete. You know, he goes to Moore Park College, excuse me, out in California as a running back, and then they move him to wide receiver, where he could really take advantage of his athletic ability and his speed.
I was going to say 6 foot, 190 pounds, so pretty good size as far as being a 190 pounder to get some position and get some space out there to catch passes. The other new recruit that came in this morning from South Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, and Lafayette High School, and Antelope Valley Junior College, a defensive back, Keyshawn Young. So another junior college defensive back that will be competing for a starting spot here at Lamar. Now, these guys will be coming in later. They're not enrolled for this semester, so they won't have the advantage of being impressing the coaches during the spring spring practice, but we'll be here starting in August with the start of workouts then.
And that's one thing you look at now. The JUCO kids that signed early, they got here, and they're enrolled, but you do still have some other junior college kids that will not be here for the spring game because they signed today, so they're not enrolled in a.
And they still need to finish their
academics,
academics at their junior college, graduate to be eligible to play here at Lamar. As far as Keyshawn Young, he's first team all-conference, played in 10 games, 35 tackles. 2 of his 4 tackles were for losses, had a couple of pass breakups. So looking forward to Keyshawn Young competing for a job here with Lamar football.
And we've touched on this, and Coach talked about it as well. I'm really impressed with the number of Southwest Louisiana kids that Lamar has signed. You just talked about Keyshawn. He is out of Lafayette High School. We've got a few kids coming in here from Houma. We got Kirkland Banks, who will be a junior on the team this coming year. He's out of Lake Charles Barb High Schools. And it's just really good to see these local kids become Southwest local kids become local kids here in Southeast Texas.
And we anticipate some early signings signings from Southeast Texas football players, but they're going to be coming later in the day, so we won't be able to talk about them. But Coach will be able to talk about them again coming up tonight at the Montaigne Center starting at 5:30. Want to go over the Lamar football schedule because you know it's never too early to start thinking about season tickets and being part of the program and supporting Lamar, and that's a big deal too to fill Provost Humphrey Stadium.
880-1715, by the way, 880-1715, LamarCardinals.com to get your season tickets.
And this year is one of those years, I don't know what, it happens every 4 or 5 years, where there's 12 games on the schedule, meaning there's 6 home games this year, starting on August the 31st, the very first weekend of college football with Bethel College, followed by Mississippi Valley, Jerry Rice's old school, Mississippi Valley State, coming in on September the 7th, SFA, Abilene Christian, Central Arkansas, along with the McNeese Cowboys coming to Beaumont. So it's going to be a great home schedule with 6 games.
It is, and the only different about this year's schedule, say to last year's schedule, is Nichols comes off the schedule this year, and Abilene Christian comes back on the schedule. One thing I like about this year's schedule, I'll complain next year, but this year's schedule, you get Abilene Christian and Central Arkansas both at home, so you don't have to worry about those long trips. But for some reason, they alternate teams on and off your schedules, and Abilene Christian comes back on the schedule this coming season while Nichols goes away.
But Lamar didn't play SFA for, what, 4 or 5 years? 3 years until last year when they went to Nacogdoches and got that big win And now SFA is coming to Beaumont for the first time in a while, along with Abilene Christian. Central Arkansas, you know, they're going to be tough. And close it out on November the 23rd, Thanksgiving weekend, against those McNeese Cowboys. So
they get a
great way to
here
finish
this
things
year.
off.
So, but I mean, it's just really exciting, and I like the 12 games better. The FBS guys get to do it every year, and FCS. You might recall early on here when the football program was brought back in 2010, Lamar played 12 games, but then for some reason, over the last few years, they went away from that, and there was only 11 games that FCS schools could play. I like the fact that they, give these kids an opportunity to play 12 games just like the FBS schools do.
I was going to say it's partly because they need to start the playoffs actually on that Thanksgiving weekend. So I guess Thanksgiving is late this year, and that frees up 12th game for the FCS schools. So looking forward to that in the coming 2019 season.
Looking at some of the names, Dave, we went over these already. It looks like as these come in, including with the early signees, it looks like the needs with what Lamar lost from this past year's playoff team, it looks like they are filling those slots.
And one thing you have to keep an eye on is how these guys are going to be able to contribute, especially the high school players trying to make the adjustment. As Coach pointed out with Donovan Edwards, a lineman from the Westbrook Bruins. And by the way, the Bruins have been cranking out outstanding offensive linemen here over the last 4 or 5 years. So, he mentioned that Donovan Edwards can already bench press over 300 pounds before he gets on campus. It's important maybe to get 1 year in the weight program, redshirt, and then make an impact. But it sounds like he might be able to step in and play right away.
Well, Westbrook over the years, they've had some good offensive linemen come out up.
That's why they're running backs like Robert McGrew go for over 2,000 yards.
So, and it's just an amazing job they're doing over there. And a lot of times you talk about, and the fans want to see the local kids, and of course, every school, everywhere looks at the local kids. But as we talked about earlier, you want to fill your needs, and that's what this coaching staff is doing.
Well, the thing is, you're talking about 7 defensive players lost. Starters, 7 starters on defense, 7 starters on offense. That's 14.
And so that means you got
to
to dip into the junior college level.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're looking for impact players, and especially with the number of recruits they signed early to get those guys in and part of spring practice. So the adjustment period won't be that long, because there's still an adjustment period even for a junior college player that might, have the maturity that a high school player doesn't, as far as being part of a weight program, and just, he's a couple years older than a high school player. Men and boys, it's when you become that gradual build up to being a senior.
Although it's 2 years, there's a big difference between 20 and 18.
Right.
When
just
you're
natural.
Developing. When you're developing, there's a big difference there. But again, the Cardinals really excited. We did have Coach Mike Schultz on with us a little bit ago, and he's talked about, after today, it's not like, okay, we're set, we're ready to go. You're already working towards 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, they'll be going out and looking at some of these athletes, or looking at the video. A lot of it's done on video nowadays, as far as player profiles and what individual players put out that want to be recruited. And, of course, their contacts throughout the state of Texas with the high school coaches and the junior college coaches now, and it's a national outreach. But I thought another interesting point that Coach made was the fact that, the big boys, the University of Texas, the University of Oklahoma, Texas A&M, they're pretty much filled up their quotas with the early signing period. So you get that extra month and the extra time to not only evaluate but get kids in that, Texas or Oklahoma might have missed on, or just didn't have room for. When you talk about the scholarship limits, to be able to come to Lamar and make an impression, and certainly make an impact.
And I kind of, in the past, I'm a traditionalist, and I kind of like having the one signing day, but I really understand how the coaches like December, because as you mentioned, you get those kids in here early, and you know what you're going to have before Christmas instead of after Christmas.
I'm really impressed by the high school guys that graduate in December, like Jermaine Givens and Donovan Edwards. They, I guess, I don't know if he's going to be part of spring training, but the guys that sign early in December, graduate in December in 3.5 years of high school, and are able to enroll in class for the spring semester and be part of the spring practice.
And that's huge, because you get a chance to play in that spring game, then you get the summer off where you come back for the fall, and a lot of these early signees, and you got these kids coming in, starting with the fall semester earlier in January, and it's exciting here at Lamar University right now as they're filling their needs. Again, we are at the Dolphin Athletic Complex. Harold Mann and Dave Hofferth with you, talking National Signing Day. We're going to be here till 11 o'clock. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be visiting with Jerrod Alton, one of the transfers out of St. Louis, Missouri. Also, Chad Cooper from the Examiner will be on with us. So we're going to have a lot for you coming up over the next hour. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. We continue from the Dolphin Athletic Complex. It is National Signing Day at Lamar University. Harold Mann back with the Dolphin Athletic Complex National Signing Day here at Lamar University. I just saw from Silvahea along with Tariq Anthony, a couple of early signees getting ready to come play football here at Lamar University. We're here till 11 o'clock on YouTube Live. Now we are joined by Chad Cooper from the Examiner. And Coop, a big day here for Lamar University. And you've had a chance to go over the bio of some of these kids. What jumps out at you?
A lot of impressive players, Harold. Coach Schultz and his staff, as he mentions time and time before, just a tireless worker. This is a process that lasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether game week, just after the final game of the season, or in the summer. You know, recruiting lasts all year long, and you've already mentioned they're already looking for the next class. But very impressive group. Several names and stats jumped out to me, and we just saw the video and the highlights. Tariq Anthony, defensive back. That's one thing I'd like to see. Some new defensive backs come in here to Lamar University and make their mark. I thought that was one of the points that needed to be filled in the offseason for Lamar University and this staff. You lose some players, and it's exciting to see some of these new guys back. Anthony, one of them, is a Texas guy from Coppers Cove, kind of the mid-Texas, central Texas region near Waco. A decent-sized kid, 6'2", 180, does have junior college experience. Not scared to hit you, so I like him, Harold.
You know, and you talk about, you said defensive back, it goes without saying, you lose 5 defensive backs, all your starters. Everybody's gone. Rodney Randall, local guy to Beaumont Ozan, 4 years in the program. Devon Jernigan, an All-American. And I think Coach and the staff did a good job covering the needs in the secondary.
Yeah, and that was, that was a big key. You know, you knew it was coming. You had a senior class. You had several guys that had started for the for the last 3 or 4 seasons. So that was one area of big interest that you needed help in, and I think they're going to do that with more signings on the way this afternoon and today. A lot of kids holding off till around lunch, and they're doing high school big signings. Right. So we can't mention those kids. But I wouldn't be surprised to see several more defensive backs. While we're talking about defensive back, Kyron Norwood, I noticed his father is a former professional boxer. So I'm a big boxing fan, so that's good to see. He's got some junior college experience, so maybe he can come in and compete for a starting role. A lot of tackles here, first-team all-conference player. And another position that I thought Lamar did a very good job with, filling the holes, and they needed some big-time guys and a lot of speed in that area and some hands is the wide receiver role. And one kid that jumps out to me is this Ryan Matlock. He's being recruited out of North Carolina, Utah State, Fresno State, 6 foot, 190. Player of the week, 20 rushing touchdowns. He could do it all. He could catch. So that's the one that jumps out for me with wide receivers.
Junior college kid, bringing experience in. So another one of these players that can make an impact basically from the start.
Yeah, you had the quarterback and running back position taken care of, even though you've got Will McBride coming in and you've got some young guys on that roster. So you think, okay, you think you're good at quarterback, very good returning backfield, so you're not really worried about the backfield. But one area of concern was that threat at wide receiver. You know, I know the tight end was a big target, but this offensive staff at Coach Schultz would love to have a wide receiver or two who could be that deep threat and, give these defensive coordinators, these opposing defensive coordinators, another challenge. And I think some of these wide receivers can come in and do that, big playmakers.
And I'm Harold Mann. We are joined by Chad Cooper from the Examiner. Coop, you do a lot of coverage in Southeast Texas high school. I mean, that's your mainstay when it comes to football in Southeast Texas. Talk about the local guy here, Donovan Edwards, an offensive lineman. Dave and I have talked about him. Coach and I have talked about him. Let's get your angle on him. He's coming in here as a true freshman, 6'1", 280 pounds, and he's going to bulk up in the weight room.
Sure.
And a local kid, what kind of impact can he have?
I think he can have immediate impact. What's the kid from Beaumont Central a couple of years ago that started as a true freshman? I think his second or third year, starting defensive lineman here for Lamar University. Westbrook was the hot name, here, not through only Southeast Texas, but in the entire Class 6A of football. They did the unexpected, made it to the Division II state championship, held their own. A lot of people thought they should have beat Longview in that state championship team, but Donovan Edwards was one of the leaders on that defensive football team. As you said, 6'1", 285. He will get bigger, faster, and stronger. But another local kid staying here, had several other football offers, and it's good to see him come to Lamar University and keep this train going, this local train going of talent here for Coach Schultz.
Good athlete as well. Recorded the longest shot put of all of Southeast Texas athletes last year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you like to see about these offensive linemen. Back in the day, they're just big old guys that filled the line. But now you're seeing these kids come in here, and they're pure athletes.
And multi-sport stars are big. You see the professional athletes in the NFL. A lot of those guys ran track in college, ran track in high school, played baseball. They did this, they did that. Always in the weight room, doing agility tests, trying to get better. And it's great to see these kids be good in multiple sports, because that means the agility, the learning experience is there, and that's a good sign. And Edwards, you heard his name a lot with Westbrook. I know they were offense heavy this year, but anytime Westbrook needed a big stop, Donovan Edwards' names was mentioned.
And that's unfortunate because you don't hear a lot from the offensive linemen.
No.
Unless they get called for a penalty. But,
Sure.
I mean, when you hear an offensive lineman being called out on the play and the style of play, that goes a long way.
He was one of them. They had a great offense, and he was the guy. He was the leader on that offensive line. They had a very good quarterback, good running backs, good receivers, and he was one of the reasons why. And if you don't have a very good offensive line, you don't have a very good offense. And he was one of the reasons why they had a very good offense this year.
Now let's talk Lamar football a little bit with you again. Chad Cooper with the Examiner. You were at nearly every game this year. You got to make the trip to Northern Iowa for the FCS championship. That has a lot to build on when it comes to recruiting in the future. That little notch in your belt on your resume.
Absolutely, and to not only make the playoffs, but get up there and fight and have a chance to win in the FCS playoffs is an incredible feat, not only for Lamar University, but for any team. But it does a lot. It was a tough first year for Coach Schultz and crew, but as he said, as you heard him say many times, trust the process, keep grinding, and they did, and they put a run together of historical magnitude here in his second year at Lamar University, and the way they finished the season and then went to Northern Iowa and competed against a team that has a lot of FCS playoff history and should have won that game. That does a lot, and I think it bodes well for the future at Lamar University.
And it's about competing and competition, competing for jobs here at Lamar. We know Jordan Hoy, the reigning newcomer of the year in the Southland Conference, actually a backup quarterback, and grab those honors. And then you have Will McBride, the transfer from Tennessee. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch those two young men compete to see who's going to get the job at QB here at Lamar University. And it's something you don't want to shy away from. You get out there and you compete, and that's a good problem.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. As Coach Schultz says, that's a pretty good problem to have at depth at quarterback. And when you have someone like Hoy who's coming back, who has all that, starting experience, Southland Conference newcomer of the year in football, and then you're loaded. You got a guy transferred from a Division I, and you've got several younger guys that can come in and take some snaps. It's going to be a fun spring and a very interesting fall.
Coop, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's going to do it for this segment. Again, Chad Cooper from the Examiner. I'm Harold Mann. We're rejoined by Dave Hofferth. It's National Signing Day at the Dolphin Athletic Complex at Lamar University. I'm Harold Manlong with Dave Hofferth. We're at the Dolphin Athletic Complex on the campus of Lamar University. And Dave, the names keep coming in. It's kind of slowed down right now, but we're still waiting for the names to come in with some more signees for Lamar University. And, you know, this not only big for the coaches, the players, but their families as well.
Oh, no doubt. It's a special day. And, of course, you'll be seeing the internet flooded with pictures, family photos. It was always smiling faces. And Grandma and Grandpa are there as well, and it's just great to see with any sport, not only just football, but basketball and some of the other sports, soccer and so on and so forth. A big day, and they do it upright at these high schools because it used to be, oh, here's a piece of paper and a sign here, and we're off. But they coordinate, and once again, it's good to see the local coverage. And you and Chad brought up the fact that, you know, we got a quarterback situation where Jordan Hoy, everybody's going to give him the keys to the car. But Will McBride's coming in from the University of Tennessee and say, hey, wait a minute. And even, you know, you're going to have a great competition for the starting job in the spring, but it's a fact that you got to have that guy ready to step in case the starter goes down with an injury, like when Daryl Colbert Jr. got hurt in that game. Hoy steps in and helps them to a win. It could have been a
two-time
loss.
player of the week, and
you know, he wasn't intimidated by the situation. So to have that experience to be able to step in and make an impact was big for Lamar. And then, as you pointed out, he went on to become newcomer of the year in the conference.
And you know, and that goes a long way. And we got McBride, of course, Hoy, of course, and there's gonna be other guys throwing their hat in the ring as well. That's not ready to give it up.
No doubt about that. And as Coach Schultz pointed out earlier in our broadcast this morning on YouTube Live, the fact that you have competition not only at the quarterback position but all the positions makes the other guy a little bit better to push him towards excellence. There's another great saying on the wall here at the Lamar. We're in the team meeting room. There's a divider right where we are with the offense over here and the defense meets on this side of the room. And it says things that require zero talent. Things that require zero talent. This is what the Lamar football coaches preach to their players. Being on time, work ethic, effort, body language, energy, attitude, passion, being coachable, doing the extra, and being prepared. Those are the things that require zero talent. So again, you can impress your coaches with that list of things just by showing up on time, being ready to go, have a great attitude, being coachable, and that equals success, as we've seen this past season here at Lamar University.
You know, and another sign, I know Dave and I were going to read into these here because you can't see them, that stay strong, triangle off to our left. That used to be solid white. They darken it in with they fill it in with every goal that they've accomplished. You know, trust, honesty, accountability, integrity, and making the playoffs. That's filled in. The very top one is national champions.
So what's next in line? The semifinals and the quarterfinals. They made it to the first round.
They need to do the red on the first round. They'll end up filling that out. But you know, as you see, they work from the bottom to the top, and you know, this program is heading in the right direction. This Lamar team 2 years ago, 2-9. Then this past year was sitting 1-4, 0-3 in conference. They lost their first 3 conference games, and then that blocked field goal by Lane Taylor and Caleb Abram returning it for the touchdown against UIW, and the Cardinals did not lose again until that 16-13 loss at Northern Iowa. When the black helmets are right here, and they wore these black helmets all the way through.
We may not see the white helmets for a long time.
And I was getting ready to say that you beat me to it, but the Cardinals. Superstitious? Absolutely.
And that's a good thing in sports. You don't want to rock the boat. But, you know, how about finishing in the top 8 and getting a first-round bye? So you don't have to play a first-round game on the road and getting a first-round, or it would be, I guess, a second-round home game. Or even a first-round home game would be great. But another thing, too, you got to bring up the fact that in watching Lamar football with the rebirth of the program in 2010, you know, go throughout the years and develop. The one thing that, and a friend of mine, we used to go to the games, and you would just look on the field, and Sam Houston State, who was, you know, in the national semifinals every year, winning the conference.
Yeah, back-to-back champion.
They would take the field, and you look at the size of their players, and you look at the size of Lamar players, and you say, you know, from the opening kickoff, wow, Lamar, you know, really doesn't have a chance to win this game. But now, Lamar takes the field last year, and they got the 300-pounders in the offensive line. And the defensive line's not getting pushed around like he used to. And that's just a huge difference, especially with the offensive line. I mean, you just see it in all levels of football.
You know, nutrition center, coach has been big on that since he's gotten here, and during football season and during the athletic season. If you walk in the front door of the Dolphin Athletic Center, you may see on the table peanut butter and jelly sandwiches sitting there. You'll see a big bowl of oranges, you know, for athletes. Not only football. I mean, other sports that come in here and utilize the facility. You know, that's for them too. But well, especially for the football program, he's really looking at nutrition, and he wants these kids to be healthy for obvious reasons and get bigger, faster, stronger.
So Lamar's getting after it in the weight room, and also with their nutrition, as you said, and watching the things that they eat. No more junk food, especially if you want to be in a training program. I guess for those people joining us late, maybe recap some of the early signees, some of the names that came in this morning. Again, it's been heavy junior college, not only from Mississippi, but all the way a number of players coming out of California, coming to Texas, and being part of the Lamar football program. And as Chad pointed out, you know, we talk so much about the defensive backs, but got to have those wide receivers and have a deep threat to really stretch the defense, stretch the field, which will make the running attack that much more effective. And, of course, Lamar with a running quarterback.
With that RPO run-pass option, you know, and you got those, and you get the athletes.
The defense somehow.
Yeah. And the Cardinals did a great job on that when they started that winning streak against UIW. It seemed like everybody contributed in one way or another, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. You know, winning's contagious, and we're going to carry it over to the 2019 season.
We've been seeing some video of some of the early signees that we have video on. There will be some other video become available on today's signees that I guess will be posted on the internet, Lamar website, and also Coach will be able to talk about when he has his meeting tonight at 5:30 at the Montaigne Center, the Cardinal Club Room. If you want to come out early for the basketball game, get there at 5:30 at the Cardinal Club Room, and Coach Mike Schultz will be running down the recruits. Now, I mentioned the early signees and the high school players. I don't know for sure that they've already graduated high school. They're just some,
right?
Not necessarily the Lamar players, but I know there's some, like the quarterback from PNG had signed early.
Sean Johnson,
he's already on campus at the University of Texas. And I'm not for sure these early, like Donovan Edwards from Westbrook, if he is on campus already.
Or Jermaine Givens, the pure athlete quarterback out of Mesquite Horton High School. And, you know, you brought this up earlier when we first got started. Coach brought it up a little bit as well when you talk about Jermaine. This is a young man that's coming in here as a true freshman, and just looking at his numbers, both throwing the football and running the football, he's a playmaker. So you need him on the field.
We're going to get him on the field somehow, some way. He may not be a quarterback.
On the field, So,
but I mean, if he's able to grasp the offense and find a role early on, then he's definitely going to be an impact player this year for Lamar. But again, it's tough coming out of high school when you start going up against experienced players from the junior college level, plus the returning starters that they're not going to want to give up their jobs that easy, and they're going to be out there competing for jobs. And one other thing I want to point out about Donovan Edwards is the fact that Justin Brock is a former Lamar Cardinal, offensive line.
Out of
Westbrook, and he's on the staff there at Westbrook. So that had to help in some regard as far as Justin Brock maybe taking care of his former school and getting Donovan Edwards to lean and become a Lamar Cardinal. And one thing you'll notice about his size, 6'1", he's 6'1", 285. If he's 6'4", 6'5", then he might be going to an FBS school.
Well, we'll take him.
6'1".
We'll take him right here. Well, we will welcome him.
It's all about being a football player.
Absolutely. We will welcome him to Lamar University. Again, I'm Harold Manlong with Dave Hofferth at the Dolphin Athletic Complex. It's National Signing Day. We're going to visit with Jerrod Alton. That comes up next, right here from the Dolphin Fieldhouse on the campus of Lamar University. Harold Mann back with the Dolphin Athletic Complex. It is National Signing Day as Lamar Cardinals putting together their upcoming team for the 2019 season and beyond. We are joined now by Jerrod Alton, defensive back, early signing. And Jerrod, welcome to Lamar University.
I'm glad to be here.
Just talk about your decision to come here to Lamar. What attracted you when you got onto campus, and what made you want to become a Lamar Cardinal?
All right, okay. So I got to junior college, and then, we started playing a couple games. Offers really wasn't flowing in, but Coach Dodd, the offensive coordinator here, he recruited me at Arkansas State back in like 2016, 2017 almost. So we always had a good relationship ever since he recruited me to play slot at Arkansas State. So I was scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, man, I need to find some of my connections. Mm-hmm. So I came across Coach Dodd's name, and he answered right then and there when I called him. I asked him how do you feel about me, trying to come there, because I didn't know he left Arkansas State at the moment when I'm talking to him. I'm just telling him, I'm having a hard time right now getting offers. I don't understand why. So he told me, well, I'll definitely look out for you. I'll keep you updated, and he said he'll send some guys out to look at me. He brought Coach Blau out to Iowa Western, and he came out to look at me, and they offered me at practice. So I was really locked in with Lamar for a long time with the offer, and I kind of knew this is where I was going to be. But there were some other schools, out there, but it just didn't work out for me. But Lamar, it was set in stone from the jump, so I was happy with it.
Played your high school football at Kirkwood High School in St. Louis. Talk about those days. Playing high school football in Missouri and at Kirkwood High. What was that like?
It was probably my best experience I've had in life so far. College was fun being at Missouri, but every Friday night playing at Kirkwood High School, it's amazing. All of my best friends, they play college football. Shout out to my friend Trey. He retired from the University of Nebraska due to an injury, but he has his own gaming system. So I got a lot of best friends who play football and take care of business and on scholarship.
Ended up at Iowa Western that year playing JUCO ball. How is that going to help you develop to play here at Lamar?
Yeah, I definitely developed a lot due to Eric Finney. He's a coach / ex-player from the University of Illinois, and he's a great coach. He taught me some things that I wasn't able to learn at the University of Missouri, and I didn't think I would learn it at Iowa Western, but he came with some things very professional as a coach. He definitely knows what it takes to build a DB up. So I want to thank Eric Finney for that.
Do you miss Council Bluffs?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't miss Council Bluffs.
You don't miss that cold weather?
No, I mean I miss my friends though. The guys that I made that friendship with for that little year, I do miss them. They made it go by real fast.
You talked about with the Coach Dodd and you playing the slot, playing a little bit of offense.
Yeah.
But now you're on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
What's that adjustment been like for you?
So once I got to the University of Missouri, they told me, we're gonna recruit you as an athlete, but it was cornerback, and I had to learn to play cornerback because that's where I fit in at. And once I learned to play cornerback and I learned, it's just about technique, I fell in love with the position, and I started to see the way offensive guys get hit, so I was like, I'm fine. I don't even want to play offense anymore.
You'd rather hit somebody than
I'd rather do the hitting.
Again, we are visiting with Jerrod Alton, defensive back, signee for Lamar University. What kind of impact do you want to make immediately to help this football team?
The impact I want to make is takeaways. That's how you win games. In the secondary, you have to be the strongest guys. Your secondary got to be who you can depend on the most. I feel like in the back end, so takeaways. Anytime the ball is in the air, me as an individual, I have to find a way to make a play. And at the end of it, just having effort all the time, relentless effort, that's also how you'll come up with the win on the ball.
Coming into a program that went to the FCS National Playoffs last year, were you following Lamar at that time and watching them as they went into the playoffs?
Honestly, a little bit, but I wasn't too educated about Lamar. I wasn't too educated about him.
But you are now, and,
Yes, sir.
and of course you want to pick it up where this last team left off. And what are your goals here at Lamar University?
My goal, I want to be an All-American DB, defensive back. That's really my biggest goal because I know if I do that, everything else will open up for me.
Who are your, I don't know if idol's the right word, but look up to? What football players when you were growing up did you look up to?
Growing up, I looked up to my brothers a lot because I'm the younger brother, so they pushed me. But nowadays, if you're talking NFL, I'm a fan of Earl Thomas and Marcus Peters.
Of course, Earl Thomas, a local guy from right here in Southeast Texas, 15 miles down the road.
Okay.
Went to high school. Super Bowl was just played. You're out of St. Louis. The Rams were in St. Louis. They moved to L.A. Were you a Rams fan?
I was a Rams fan, and I was actually, I wanted to see the Rams win, but Tom Brady is my favorite player, so, I was happy regardless. But what happened?
Tom Brady, you give them the ball, they win.
Hey, you can't stop them.
What's been your biggest surprise in Southeast Texas? The food, not football, non-football wise.
Non-football?
What's been your biggest surprise, and what do you like about Southeast Texas?
Okay, I took a visit here January 11th, and my coach they took me to Papados, is that what it's called? And I thought that was like the best food I've ever had in my life so far.
So a good recruiting tool. Get them seafood. Get them seafood.
Yes, the platter. I got the seafood platter.
Jerrod, thank you so much for taking time. I know you got classes coming up here in a few minutes. Good luck to you. Welcome to Lamar University. Looking forward to seeing you on the field.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I can't wait.
All right. Again, Jerrod Alton with the Lamar Cardinals. We continue from the Dolphin Athletic Complex right here on National Signing Day. Harold Manlong with Dave Harvard. Dave rejoining us on the Dolphin Athletic Complex. Just heard from Jerrod Alton. Seems like he's pretty excited to be here at Lamar University.
No doubt about that. And once again, great attitude and glad to be out of the cold weather up in Iowa. Stop off at the University of Missouri. So, I mean, he's seen a big-time program and now looking to make an impact at Lamar. And once again, defensive back, and he knows what's so important. Got to get those takeaways. Got to force those turnovers.
And and I like the fact when he talked about when he played offense. Sure, he loved carrying the ball, but it was that getting hit thing that made him change his mind.
He was a wide receiver, and pretty tough going over the middle. Of course, they've changed the rules where defensive backs can't light up the wide receivers like they used to, but still, you got to be tough and physical.
Talking about Lamar signings again, we're going to be here till the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us on YouTube Live. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. We've been going over some of the early signings. If someone's just joining us, a lot of gaps that Lamar needed have been filled. And in that really focus area on the defensive side, where you lost your entire defensive backfield. And just throwing a couple names out of there, our local product out of Beaumont Ozan High School, Rodney Randall, he graduated, and then the All-American Devon Jernigan. And I think looking at this early signee, the kids that signed in December, now the ones we see trickling in here today, Dave, they're really filling the needs, and especially in that defensive secondary.
Yeah, well, let's run down some of the names for those of us, for those of you just joining us late. Kyron Norwood, defensive back from Pearl River Community College in Mississippi, native of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, junior college player, along with Kenny Allen, a wide receiver from East Los Angeles College, another junior college player that could make an impact. Ryan Matlock, a wide receiver from Newberry Park High School in Newberry Park, California, and another junior college player once again on the national watch list. Defensive back Keyshawn Young from Lafayette, Louisiana, and Antelope Valley College. And Anthony Ruffin, defensive back from Houma, Louisiana, Terrebonne High School. So he's coming straight out of high school to Lamar, signing this morning, and making it official with Lamar football. Michael Lawson, defensive back that Coach Mike Schultz was excited about from City College of San Francisco, had a D1 football bowl championship series, football bowl team he was committed to, but backed out at the last minute, and he is with Lamar along with Dallas Martin, a linebacker from Marietta, California, and another one from City College of San Francisco coming to Beaumont, Dallas Martin, and Will McBride, quarterback from Clear Springs High School in Texas, transfer from University of Tennessee, waiting in the wings.
Yeah, we'll be talking to him here in just a second. You talk about, and we've been still waiting for some of the California potential signees to come in, and maybe even some local kids. And the delay there is, and I'm not sure what they do around the rest of the country, but it's become traditional here in Southeast Texas, where your schools have signing parties, and they may not be till 10, 11, or noon. So you're still waiting for that. Maybe some of those signings coming in here with the next 20, 30 minutes or so.
Part of the reason for that is they have it during the lunch period, because it allows some of the other students from around the school to come and attend those signing ceremonies other than breaking up class early in the morning. Some schools do it before class at 8 o'clock. I believe that was a situation over at Westbrook High School in Beaumont. United High School has got an 11 o'clock signing, and Silsbee High School has got 11:45 signing, and there is expected to be some players signing with Lamar University then that we can't talk about until it's actually official on the dotted line.
All right, we're going to get another break in. Again, National Signing Day. I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. We're going to visit with signee Will McBride. That comes up next from the Dolphin Center on the campus of Lamar University. I'm Harold Mann, back on National Signing Day at Lamar University, live from the Dolphin Center here on YouTube Live. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We are now joined by Will McBride. Will, a quarterback out of League City, went to Clear Springs High School, was at Tennessee, transferred back to Southeast Texas. And Will, welcome to Lamar University.
Thank you.
Just talk about your decision to transfer, to get play back closer to home.
Well, yeah, a lot of went into the decision, and I think one of the big things was family. I wanted to be closer to home, closer to family. And another thing is just a better opportunity to get some playing time on the field and earn a starting job. And I felt like I had to move on from Tennessee to do that. And now I'm here and excited to get to work.
Let's talk a little bit about playing at Tennessee. Neyland Stadium, they're going out there, 100,000 plus fans on a Saturday. Just to talk about that atmosphere of that experience.
Oh yeah, it was second to none. I mean, Tennessee's a great place, and certainly Neyland Stadium has a great atmosphere. The fans are wonderful, have always shown a lot of support for the team, and I'll definitely always appreciate my time there.
You're now back here in Southeast Texas, again out of League City, Clear Springs High School. What are some of your biggest memories playing at Clear Springs?
Everything. I mean, high school football is one of the most fun things I've done in my life. I created a lot of bonds on the team with my brothers that I played with in high school, and also with the coaches that coached me in high school. I think the biggest thing that I took away from high school football was just the relationships I built and the fun I had and what I learned about football. So,
any particular game jump out at you?
I guess probably senior year against Friendswood when we basically claimed the district title, and I think that was one of my goals as soon as I got on varsity as a player, and was to win a district championship undefeated, and we did that senior year. And when we beat Friendswood, that pretty much wrapped that up for us. So that was definitely one of the games that stood out to me.
Growing up in the Houston area as a football player, did you have any idols, maybe a role model that you kind of looked up to, want to pattern your game after?
Well, in high school, I was a big Johnny Manziel fan, at least on the field, So
on the field,
yeah. So I really, appreciated his game and was, one of the more interesting players for me to watch. Especially watching college football a lot. I think he was just really exciting, and he always played great. So,
visiting with Will McBride, transfer from the University of Tennessee, will be eligible to play right away, already in school. Your goals coming into this football program? It is a program that's coming off a great year that went to the FCS National Playoffs. What do you want to contribute to this team?
I think number one thing is being a great teammate, just working hard and leading in the ways that I can lead, especially coming in as a new player. I got to earn that respect first and foremost. But after that, my personal goal is to win the quarterback job. For me, in terms of being a team player and thinking about the team, I definitely want to win the Southland Conference. And I'm not very familiar with the playoff, the way that works. So I just I hope we win the Southland Conference. That's one of my goals, and get in the playoffs, and anything can happen. Want to win the whole thing.
You, again, as we mentioned, transfer to Tennessee, want to transfer back home, be closer to family, not that far away. What's going to be like to have the family out at Provost Humphrey Stadium on a Saturday?
Yeah, that's going to be wonderful. I already talked about that with my family, and we're really looking forward to that, and miss being able to have them on the sideline, watching me play. So,
what attracted you to Lamar University? Because there's several different options when you want to play closer to home. Why did you choose Lamar? I know obviously we're glad to have you, thrilled to have you here.
Sure.
But why did you choose Lamar?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what went into it. Well, one, the location. It's only an hour and a half from my house. I know you kind of mentioned location, but another thing was Coach Schultz. I mean, I think he's a great coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows, how to handle his guys, and I think he's getting this program on the right track to be successful.
Might be a little easier for you to answer. I asked Jerrod the same question. Away from the football team and away from Lamar University, what do you like about Beaumont?
I mean, I probably haven't been here long enough to say there's one specific thing. I think the area I live in, You know, it has basically everything around there. So, you know, I mean, it's just simple living. So it's not one thing that just stands out to me, but I definitely enjoy my time here so far.
Working hard until the spring game?
Yes, sir.
Just talk about your daily routine, classes, your off-season workouts. What's a typical day for Will McBride like?
Yeah, I mean, I usually, well, you know, every day's kind of different just based on class schedule, but, you know, usually wake up, eat breakfast, go to class, you know, get out of class, get some lunch, get right into workouts, and then after that, just loads of homework and, you know, Fortnite when I get a chance to.
How's that going for you?
Oh, that's good. You know, Fortnite's always a great time. So.
Well, being like an hour and a half away, you kind of sneak home if you need to get some home cooking. What's your favorite home cooked meal?
That's hard. I'd probably have to say my mom's jambalaya. She cooks some really good jambalaya.
All right. And again, Will, thank you so much for taking time with us. Welcome to Lamar University. Really looking forward to 2019.
Thank you.
Will McBride of the Lamar Cardinals, transfer quarterback out of Clear Springs High School over in League City, a transfer from the University of Tennessee. We continue on National Signing Day from the Dolphin Athletic Complex. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good luck to you, bud. You too, man.
Good job. The offense a big. Is it an offense you're used to running, or are you gonna have to make adjustments?
I think we'll make a few adjustments, but I think, you know, a lot of the like college offenses are similar. You know, you know, it's just based on what you want to do, more run or pass.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't
everyone
know how
makes.
similar was to your high school. That's really what it's based on.
Yes, sir.
Most experience in high school.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you ran a lot too.
Yeah, we did run a lot in high school.
Dixon texted me, said our
A
mics
lot
are
of
hot.
QB run too, so I should be used to it.
Are their mics still hot right now, Nicole?
I'm Harold Mann along with Dave Hofferth. Dave, just a few more minutes to go. It's been quite a morning.
I was going to say, it goes by fast when you're talking Lamar football as far as what happened last year, and looking forward to 2019 and the recruiting class that they just signed. And Will McBride, one thing I was noticing about his bio, a member of the National Honor Society. So, you know, he's going to be a good student in the classroom and take advantage of his Lamar education as well as what he might provide on the football field.
And I like his attitude coming here, competing for the starting job. goes without saying, he wants to be the
Yeah,
starter
you
here at
want
Lamar.
competitive
Yeah.
players that want to be on the field and be a part of the team.
Just a few minutes to go here, and if you're just joining us on YouTube Live, I've been talking about the 2019 signing class for Lamar University, and we touched on this earlier. And just a recap, Coach Schultz and the coaching staff worked hard. They busted it from the end of the season all the way up till today, and it looks like it could have paid off.
Once again, Lamar signed 11 players during the early signing period. You might have seen them on the internet. There's a story there on lamarcardinals.com. 11 players, offensive lineman and defensive back, head up that class, and 8 new signees came in this morning, including Will McBride, who is rumored to be transferring to Lamar, but really made it official when he enrolled at class for the spring semester. So 8 new players this morning, defensive backs, wide receivers, quarterback, linebacker. Once again, head coach Mike Schultz and his staff filling out all the needs, and there could be 5 or 6, 7 more players coming in later today and this afternoon. Again, some local players we expect around lunchtime to make it official, and Coach Schultz will have much, much more on that tonight at the Montaigne Center when he meets with Lamar boosters around 5:30 at the Cardinal Club room. So a chance to come out and visit with the coach and hear more about Lamar football recruiting then.
And looking forward to that. And again, as we talked about a few minutes ago, the reason they're not all in yet is because of the high schools. They go to a lot of high schools, hold signing ceremonies so, family and friends can attend. And some of those are 11:45, 12 noon. And as Dave mentioned, get out to the Montaigne Center at 5:30 to hear from
And stick
Coach
around for
Schultz.
the basketball game.
Yeah,
Big game for
yeah.
Coach Tick and his staff against Abilene Christian, who's right up there in the standings in the Southland Conference.
Yeah, 18-4 overall, 7-2 on the year. But it's been a lot of fun out here, Dave, and really looking forward to 2019 Lamar football. And just
get your season tickets. 6 home games this year, including McNeese and SFA in the conference, and they play it the first 2 weekends of the year. And you're talking about Will McBride, who's talking about playing at the University of Tennessee, 100,000 fans. In week 3, Lamar goes to College Station, Texas.
There's 100,000 fans there.
to face those Aggies. So I don't think he'll be intimidated by that atmosphere.
Oh, not at all. Dave talked about it, season tickets. You can get them right now. Contact Josh over at the ticket office, 880-1715. That's 880-1715. Or go online, lamarcardinals.com. Get your season tickets. Get them early because the kids are coming off a national FCS playoff season. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Good to be back at Lamar.
All right, that's going to do it from the Dolphin Athletic Complex. Thanks for James Dixon, Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, Cooper Welch, the Lamar Video Department. Everybody, thank you so much for your work. For Dave Hofferth, I'm Harold Mann. Goodbye, and we are LU.